So the MCU is looking for a director for their next MCU Spider-Man trilogy that will take place after Spider-Man's high school years. I believe there are 10 directors that could be good for the job. Not sure how likely any of these guys could be at the helm as the next leader for the new Spider-Man trilogy, but these are the guys I would love to see take on Spider-Man. And with that all out of the way,
come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look and you'll see into your imagination.
coming in at number 10, Jon Watts. Watts is a safe choice, and it sounds like it is possible that he will return to direct at least Spider-Man 4, maybe another entire trilogy, which I would be fine with. I mean, I do love 2 of his Spider-Man movies, but I also dislike one of his Spider-Man movies with a passion. I just do not know if Jon Watts will make the kind of Spider-Man movie that I am looking for. Like, he did great with the high school aspects to the character, and I know many people have a problem with him, but in my opinion, I think he did great with Spider-Man in Homecoming and No Way Home. Also, I felt like the directing in that movie was really just spectacular. Jon Watts can set up some really great shots. Plus, he used a good amount of practical effects, which is something I love because most superhero movies these days overuse CGI and it's just horrible. I just don't know if Watts will be able to portray the relatable college years Peter Parker that I am looking for from this next trilogy, but it is possible he can pull it off. I wouldn't mind if Watts returned. I just hope he never makes a film like Far From Home again, because that movie was just such fluff and it didn't fit Spider-Man at all in my opinion. But if I'm being completely honest, I think Jon Watts should just go on and direct Fantastic Four like he was originally going to do, or even direct the Avengers movie. I think he can definitely pull it off. I'd much rather see what he can do with Avengers or Fantastic Four instead of going back to Spider-Man. I also can't wait to see Jon Watts' Star Wars show, Skeleton Crew. I think he's going to do really great things with that show. And it sounds like it's going to be like Stranger Things in space. And it all sounds really cool. So I think Jon Watts should just work on the Star Wars show, and then he should just do like Fantastic Four or Avengers if he has the time. So I wouldn't mind seeing Jon Watts return, and I hope he could do a good, grounded, relatable Spider-Man. But I just do not know if he can be able to pull that off 100%. Coming in at number 9, Alfonso Cuarón. Alfonso Cuarón has made many movies over the years, and he even has won 2 Best Director Oscars for the movies Gravity and Roma, which just shows you how talented this guy is. This guy also made the best Harry Potter movie, according to many Harry Potter fans. I mean, for me personally, Prisoner of Azkaban is not my favorite, but it's definitely one of the best, like no question about it. And I can see why many fans say that it's the best Harry Potter movie, because it's just a very well made film in every aspect. The jump in quality and visuals and storytelling between that movie and the other Harry Potter movies is just astounding. Alfonso Cuarón also seems like a real actor's director and can get great performances from his actors. Great example is Prisoner of Azkaban, and all the actors immediately improved their acting from the second movie to this movie, the third movie, and I think Alfonso Cuarón deserves a lot of credit for that. Imagine what he could be able to do with Tom Holland and what kind of performances he could get out of him while telling a new Spider-Man story where he's completely alone and much more grounded, a bit darker from the high school days, you know? I'm really curious what he could be able to do with Spider-Man and Tom Holland Spider-Man specifically, especially the state of mind that character is in right now. Alfonso Cuarón knows how to change a tone in the series like he did with the Harry Potter movies, and the new Spider-Man trilogy is going to need a change in tone. So I would have trust that he would be able to pull that off if Alfonso Cuarón was given the opportunity to direct a Spider-Man movie and an entire trilogy. Coming in number 8, Peter Farrelly. Peter Farrelly is known for making all types of films, but I know him best for writing and directing The Green Book, which is a great film that won Best Picture. Not sure if he would want to do a superhero movie, but if he did, then I think he would be great for Spider-Man. The guy can write serious and comedic movies, which would fit Spider-Man's character perfectly. I would love to see what this talented director and writer could make if he had the reins to a Spider-Man trilogy. Coming in at number 7, Sam Raimi. Now, I'm sure many would love to see Sam Raimi direct a Spider-Man movie again, and Sam Raimi does know how to tell a Spider-Man movie that takes place in a post-high school era and shows all the struggles that Peter goes through that makes him very relatable to many people, like paying rent, trying to attend classes on time, relationship troubles, family troubles, and the list goes on, which a lot of those aspects are some of the reasons why Spider-Man is my favorite superhero of all time, and I'm sure many of those aspects is the reason why he's many other people's favorite superhero of all time. So I definitely think Sam Raimi would be able to pull off the many relatable aspects to Spider-Man as he did in his previous movies. There's also many flaws in his other movies that I just don't want to see in a Spider-Man movie again. If you've seen my previous videos about the Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, I'm not the biggest fan of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, and I do feel it's a bit overrated. I do like the John Watts Spider-Man movies more. Hot take to some, to others, they agree with me. There's just a lot of corniness in the Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, and the way that Mary Jane was written was just terrible. And I do like those movies, don't get me wrong. I'd rather see another type of Spider-Man movie that doesn't feel like it came from the Spider-Man Raimi trilogy. I'd rather Sam Raimi work on the proper Spider-Man 4 to end those characters in a way that doesn't make the whole trilogy feel like it was a waste of time. Because honestly, Spider-Man 3 is terrible and makes me feel like the entire trilogy was a waste of time, and they ruined every character that was in the previous movies. So it's just, Spider-Man 3 is terrible. I'm sorry. I know that movie gets praised now, but it's just terrible. And it's not Sam Raimi's fault. It's Sony's fault. That doesn't change the fact that the movie is garbage. I also feel like it's not likely that Sam Raimi would want to work on a Tom Holland Spider-Man movie, because I believe Sam Raimi did say he would only want to work on a Spider-Man movie that featured Tobey Maguire in it, his Spider-Man, which makes sense. So it's probably not likely anyway. He could change his mind though. I'd rather see a Spider-Man film that doesn't feel like it's a Raimi Spider-Man film. But I wouldn't hate it though, and I think he could do a kick-ass job at making a whole new trilogy for a whole new Spider-Man. And I feel like he would put a lot of heart and seriousness into the films while also making it lighthearted at times. So yeah, I think it would be pretty cool if he directed the new MCU Spider-Man trilogy. I just think I would rather see other directors direct Spider-Man before he did. Coming in at number 6, Phil Abram. Phil Abram has directed a lot of things over the years. He's been in the industry for a very long time. Not a known director, so they would be giving an unknown director who's been in the industry directing things for a very long time a chance. And he's mainly worked on the TV side of things. Like he's directed an episode of The Sopranos, Breaking Bad, Ozark, Orange is the New Black, and most notably, he's worked on almost every single MCU Netflix show. Especially Daredevil, because he's worked on 5 episodes of that show and has made some of the best episodes of that show of all time. Also, the episode he worked on had the iconic hallway fight scene, the first one. The guy has been in the industry a really long time. No one really knows who he is. I know who he is because I'm a fan of many directors, well known and not well known, and this guy needs a chance at a big time movie. And I would love to see what he can do with Spider-Man. He's been around some very creative minds from all the TV shows he's worked on. And yeah, let's hear his pitch for a Spider-Man trilogy. I mean, the Russos literally came from the sitcom community, so if this guy's been around for a really long time, worked on some really great TV shows, why can't we give this guy a shot? I mean, he's a great director. The episodes he's directed are always great episodes, but they're also directed really well. Not just the writing aspect, like the directing aspect was really great. So yeah, the guy worked on superhero shows. The guy worked on some other really great shows. Give this guy a shot for Spider-Man. I think he could do a phenomenal job. Coming in number 5, Peter Hoare. Peter Hoare is another director who's similar to Phil Abram in the way that they've both directed many episodes of television, and they're both pretty unknown. They also both worked on MCU Netflix shows, and more specifically, he's directed an episode of Daredevil. Plus, Peter Hoare has worked on other superhero shows as well. The thing is with Peter Hoare, he isn't as experienced as Phil Abram, but he's also worked more on the storytelling side of things in the projects he's worked on, and also he directed an entire show from beginning to end, instead of just randomly dropping in on a TV show, directing an episode, and then just kind of jumping on to the next project. Not saying there's anything wrong with that, because that's what Phil Abram has done, and I would love for Phil Abram to direct an entire Spider-Man trilogy. I just know with Peter Hoare, he's done stuff from beginning to end. And the thing that he did from beginning to end, by the way, is a TV show called It's a Sin, a great show. You can watch it on HBO Max now. He collaborated with Russell T Davies, who, if you don't know that, is the showrunner of Doctor Who. He collaborated with him on It's a Sin, which, like I said, good show. You should check it out, in my opinion. And based off of the stuff he's directed and based off of It's a Sin, I feel like he could do a great job with a Spider-Man trilogy if he was given the opportunity to do so. He knows how to tell stories about characters within their 20s and about the struggles that they go through, and he also knows how to tell a story that deals with superheroes, and he worked on the best superhero show of all time in my opinion, which is Daredevil. I also listened to an interview with Peter Hoare, and he was on the Directors Roundtable podcast thing, and also that just from hearing him from that interview made me a fan of him. So that's another reason why I want to see him get a big break and direct something big and get his name out there, because I think he is a really great director, and the things he said in that interview just shows how underrated he really is. Also, just watch the things he's directed. Watch It's a Sin. It's beautifully directed. It's just, I think his style could fit Spider-Man perfectly, and I just would love to see him direct an entire Spider-Man trilogy. Coming in at number 4, Stephen Chbosky. Stephen Chbosky in general is just a great storyteller. He's most famous for writing the book The Perks of Being a Wallflower, but he also directed and wrote the movie too. Stephen Chbosky can direct and write almost any kind of genre, and he could do it all really well. The main reason why I would want Chbosky to make a Spider-Man movie is because of his film The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Wallflower is in my top 10 favorite movies of all time, and I just love that movie so much. Plus, I relate to that film in so many ways as well. The way it was written was amazing, and the directing was phenomenal as well. I always thought getting a Spider-Man movie in the tone and style of Wallflower could have been amazing, and why not get Stephen Chbosky to make that film? I would say Chbosky would have to make the trilogy a bit lighter in tone than Wallflower, because Wallflower can get very dark at times, but I think we need a Spider-Man movie that feels a bit more heavy than lighthearted. Spider-Man should be the quippy character we all know and love, but we need to see Peter Parker sad and alone, and maybe get some like mental breakdown scenes, or maybe get a scene where he gets like an anxiety attack at some point in the next trilogy. And Stephen Chbosky knows how to show all that based off of his previous movies. The reason why Stephen Chbosky isn't any higher on my list is because I'm not sure how he would be able to do the action scenes that's needed for Spider-Man. Plus, I'm not sure if Chbosky would even want to do a Spider-Man trilogy, but if he is willing to do so, I think he could have the potential to make such an amazing Spider-Man trilogy that would resonate with many people, not just Spider-Man fans. Coming in number 3, Drew Goddard. Now, I'm a fan of Drew Goddard. I've seen 2 of his movies, The Cabin in the Woods and The Bad Times at the El Royale. 2 pretty good movies, and they were both directed phenomenally, but just as movies in general, I think they're pretty good. He's worked on many other movies as well, not just directing, but like in writing credits and producing credits. He's done quite a few different stuff from the movie side of things, but on the TV side of things, the thing I would like to highlight the most is he worked on Daredevil Season 1. Enough said. I want this man on Spider-Man immediately. I know I have many directors on this list that came from Daredevil, and I promise you he's the last guy that came from that show. But that show is just phenomenal. It's the best superhero thing of all time, not just best superhero TV show. It's the best superhero thing I've ever watched with my own 2 eyes. And I would love to see a proven movie director that worked on that show direct Spider-Man, especially if we could possibly see Daredevil and Kingpin themselves. Who better to get the guy that worked on the show to handle those characters in a Spider-Man trilogy? There's also rumors that he is in talks to direct the new Spider-Man 4 movie, or possibly the entire trilogy. It could go either way, but I would love it. I would be thrilled to hear Drew Goddard's name as the next director for an entire Spider-Man trilogy. Coming in at number 2, Matthew Vaughn. Matthew Vaughn has been attached to many superhero projects over the years, mainly X-Men, because he was originally supposed to direct X-Men The Last Stand, but then he finally got a chance to direct an X-Men film in X-Men First Class, which is the main reason why I want him to direct Spider-Man. Matthew Vaughn just is a great director in general. Let's just get that out of the way. He directed X-Men First Class in a really great way, in my opinion. He also had story credits to X-Men Days of the Future Past, which in my opinion is the best X-Men film to this day. I think his style and just his great storytelling would fit Spider-Man perfectly. I would love to see what he could do with a Spider-Man trilogy. Also, he has shown to know how to write stories about 20-year-olds, as shown in X-Men First Class. Also, the action scenes would be bonkers. It would be incredible to see the action scenes from Matthew Vaughn in a Spider-Man movie. Oh man, a Matthew Vaughn Spider-Man movie would be incredible. I would love to see him take over an entire MCU Spider-Man trilogy. But coming in at number 1, I have Damien Chazelle. Damien Chazelle is like the next up-and-coming great director. Chazelle has directed Whiplash, La La Land, First Man, and Babylon, which are all films that are great. I would love to see what Giselle could do in the superhero movie genre, and I think he would do great things with a character like Spider-Man. I think if he made a Spider-Man trilogy, it could be like the next Nolan Batman trilogy. Marvel and Sony, please hire this man for Spider-Man, because I bet he could make it an Oscar-worthy superhero trilogy. So those are the directors I would love to see direct the next MCU Spider-Man trilogy. Not sure how likely any of these guys could be hired for the job. I think some have a really great chance and others really have no chance. But if I was in charge of the MCU right now, or if I was in charge of the character of Spider-Man, I would hire one of these guys for the job to direct an entire Spider-Man trilogy that takes place after No Way Home.